So one thing I wanted to ask as well is, obviously you've probably grown a lot over the last 5 years. So I'm just curious, because I'm 29.
Not in height.
I'm 29 now, so I kind of...
Oh shit, you're 30 next year.
Which got me thinking, like, if you could travel back in time and coach 29-year-old Chris Morrison, what beliefs would you break, and like what would you tell him to read? Like, what advice would you give your 29-year-old self?
What's Chris at 29 doing? Chris is 33 now. Chris was in a shitty relationship. Chris was by no means himself. Chris was trying to find himself, right? But Chris was trying to like find himself, but the person that he wasn't convicted, committed, and courageous at all. And I think that the advice that I would have given him, because this is pre-avoiding avoidance, Chris, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, the idea is that I would shake him and have a hard conversation with him and say, hey man, like shit's not going to change unless you do.
Shock therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like shit's not going to change unless you do. And I don't think things do change unless you do in many cases, right? Because the only way that you can change a situation is if you change to change the situation in most cases. And I know that myself at 29, I was in a relationship that I wanted to get the girl, but I didn't want to keep the girl. And I had no desire to keep the girl. So the version of me was playing so small because I knew that I shouldn't be there, but I stayed there. And as a consequence of that, it ate at my self-belief and self-worth all day long. And if I had the guts to just get out of that relationship, and which I eventually did, but admit to myself that like I just wasn't good enough at anything. I didn't see anything through till its completion. Right? If I could give like one real great piece of like advice to him or younger, it's like, see all things through to completion. Like all things that are important to you. Build the skill of completing things, right? All the way through until the end. Because if you can build the skill of completing things all the way through until the end, there's actually nothing, the fear of success, all these different things that will typically challenge you anywhere near as much as they have in the past. My belief behind that, and the reason being, is that you know that you can see things through, overcome the challenges, overcome yourself to be able to go through until the end within it. So whenever you choose to do this, it's like, oh cool, whatever gets thrown my way and I'll be able to handle it. Just like see things through until the end. Stop avoiding shit that you're unwilling to address because of whatever.
I think that's a huge one for like how you've helped me. Like I said at the start, like avoidance is a huge one. I think so many people avoid the pain, the hard conversation, the difficult tasks in business, the things that actually move the needle, like appointment setting or whatever will actually grow the business. So yeah, leaning into that is so important.
Hugely.
So important.
Hugely, man. Seeing things through to completion is probably one of the biggest, like underrated skills that I don't think most people consider, right? Like think about how many people are 5 weeks into a program and already looking at a different shiny object. How many people are going from one opportunity to another opportunity to another opportunity because they're like, I don't know if this is the right one for me. And I'm not convinced that there is a right one for you. I think the right thing and right one and right partner and right XYZ thing for you is the one that you work the deepest at and become masterful in being able to deal with that particular situation. Relationship might be a different version, but the business type things is probably pretty accurate in that. It's like see things through until completion.
On the subject of skills as well, I had a question around like consistency. So you've obviously worked with, I don't know, how many clients have you worked with?
More than 7. Like 400 and something?
So 400, and I would imagine you've seen a lot of like inconsistency within people. So I'm just curious, like from your perspective, what do you think stops people from being consistent? And like, yeah, why do you think they struggle with that?
I think most people are inconsistent because they don't see themselves as someone who, again, or have never visualized themselves as the person who gets up and does the work every day. They've just visualized themselves as, or what they hope and dream to be the outcome of those things, as opposed to the person doing the work itself.
So they need to envision the person that they need to become